Let me tell you something most people won't admit. The moment you stopped calling, stopped texting, stopped chasing, that's when he started to panic. You think he's out there celebrating, thinking, yeah, I rejected her. I'm so glad she's gone. No. That's the version of the story he's telling his friends, maybe even himself. But behind that fake smile, behind the casually posted stories and sudden silence, he's unraveling. Because you're silence. It's not indifference. It's power, it's dignity, and it's killing him. When a man rejects you, it's natural to immediately turn inward and start overanalyzing everything you said, did, or felt. The mind starts racing with questions like, was I not pretty enough? Was I too available? Did I move too fast? But here's the raw truth that too many women overlook in that moment of emotional chaos. Rejection is not always about you. It's very often about him, his confusion, his insecurities, his unreadiness. Sometimes a man doesn't reject a woman because he doesn't like her, he rejects her because she makes him feel something real, and he's not ready to go there. In many cases, when a man is emotionally unavailable or not in the place to commit, even the right woman will feel like the wrong timing. That can be a bitter pill to swallow, but it's liberating when you understand it. He may see your depth, your emotional intelligence, your energy, your softness, and instead of moving closer, he steps back. Why? Because deep down he knows he can't meet you there. He can't rise to what you're offering. Not because you're too much, but because he's operating from a place of lack. You might be ready to love boldly, but he's still dancing with his own doubts, wounds, or ego. And here's the most powerful part. When you respond to that rejection, not with arguments or pleas or emotional fireworks, but with silence, you take all your power back in one swift move. That silence is not emptiness, it's self-respect in action. It's the quiet, undeniable confidence of someone who understands that her value doesn't change just because someone couldn't recognize it in time. Instead of filling the void with explanations or chasing for clarity, you let the silence speak for you. And it says everything. That's when the shift happens. Because while he may have expected you to linger, to hang on to his words, to keep showing up in his orbit hoping for crumbs of attention, what he didn't expect was your silence. Your stillness, your refusal to audition again for a role he clearly wasn't ready for. That silence becomes the loudest sound in his world. It follows him into his days, into his late-night thoughts, into his conversations with friends. And slowly but surely, the rejection he thought gave him freedom starts to feel like the beginning of his regret. A man who chooses to reject you often does so believing he has the upper hand. He assumes that your feelings will keep you anchored, that your interest in him will keep you subtly orbiting his world, even after he's walked away. It's not even always arrogance sometimes, it's just human nature. We grow comfortable with being pursued, with being the one who sets the emotional pace. And when he tells you, I'm not ready, or this isn't what I'm looking for right now, what he often means underneath is, I expect you'll still be there when I change my mind. He counts on you holding space for him. Even in absence, he imagines your energy won't disappear. But when you go silent, when you disappear not with bitterness, but with dignity, you challenge everything he assumed would happen. He expected you to reach out again, to text on his birthday, to like a story, to comment on something in passing. Maybe not right away, but eventually. He believed your affection would outweigh your pride. That's the pattern he's seen from others, or perhaps even from you in the past. But when your silence becomes consistent, when you stop trying to prove your worth or maintain some emotional tie, he's forced to sit in the vacuum. And in that vacuum, questions begin to rise. Was she really that into me? Did I misread her attachment? Was I just a phase for her, or worse, has she already moved on? What silence does real, non-performative silence is introduced doubt where he once felt certain? He might scroll back through your messages trying to find signs of your devotion. He might check your profile more often, not to see what you're posting, but to see what you aren't. Because your quiet isn't just a lack of noise, it's a statement. It says you don't get access to me after closing the door, and that challenges his ego more than any dramatic outburst ever could. He might not say it. In fact, he might even double down on the image that he's fine, that life is good. But internally, your silence chips away at that illusion. It starts to reshape the narrative. It makes him wonder if perhaps he underestimated you, not just your feelings, but your strength. And when a man realizes he's lost access to a woman who had the courage to walk away quietly, that's when he begins to regret not holding on more tightly when he had the chance. There's a moment, not right away, but eventually when the silence begins to get under his skin. At first, he might feel a sense of relief after rejecting you. He tells himself he did the right thing. Maybe he even convinces himself that it was better for both of you. But time has a way of peeling back those illusions, especially when there's nothing left to distract him from the consequences of his decision. That's when the silence starts to echo. Not just in the space where your conversations used to be, but in his mind, in his heart, in the routine moments where he used to hear from you, and now there's nothing. That nothingness is louder than any words you could have spoken. He begins to feel your absence, not because he's suddenly fallen in love, but because he's just now starting to understand what he's lost. You see, men often process emotions in delay. While a woman may grieve a connection immediately after a rejection, he may not fully comprehend the emotional weight until much later, when everything's gone quiet. When he picks up his phone and realizes your name hasn't shown up in days, weeks, or even longer, it rattles something inside him. He starts wondering where you went. Not physically, he knows you're not reaching out, but emotionally. Have you really let go? Was it that easy for you to walk away? Was I just a passing chapter in your story? In those quiet hours late at night, or in the spaces where his thoughts have room to breathe, he replays things. He hears your laugh in his memory. He remembers the way you made him feel, the way you listened, the way you supported him without expecting anything in return. And now that it's gone, he realizes how rare that energy was. Your presence was something he may not have fully appreciated at the time, but your absence, that's undeniable. He begins to feel the loss, not just as a lack of connection, but as a vacuum where something meaningful once lived. This isn't about manipulation. It's not about making someone miss you through calculated silence. It's about what naturally happens when a man loses access to something genuine and can't fill the space with substitutes. Your silence gives him the chance to sit with his real feelings, not the ones he pretended to have to save face, but the ones he can't escape when there's nothing left but his own thoughts. That's when he starts to realize the rejection wasn't the final word, it was the beginning of regret. And that regret, born in silence, is often far more painful than he expected. Silence, when used with intention and authenticity, isn't about revenge. It's not a passive-aggressive way to get someone to chase you. It's a powerful act of choosing yourself, of declaring without a word that your self-worth is not negotiable. When you stop reaching out, stop explaining, stop waiting for him to change his mind, you're not giving up. You're leveling up. You're saying, I'm not in the business of convincing anyone to see my value. That shift is internal first. It's the quiet courage of a woman who realizes that someone's inability to love her the right way has nothing to do with her ability to be loved deeply by someone else. Too often, we're taught that love is about holding on, about fighting harder, about proving we're worthy, especially when someone seems unsure about us. But what if real strength isn't in holding on, but in letting go with grace? When you go silent, not to manipulate, but because you've reclaimed your center, you send a message that's impossible to ignore. You're not using your silence as bait. You're using it as a boundary. A boundary that says, if you close the door on me, I won't keep knocking. I'll walk away, not because I don't care, but because I care too much about myself. And that's where true transformation happens, not just for him, but for you. You stop thinking about how to make him notice you. You start pouring your energy into yourself, into your growth, your joy, your healing. You start showing up for the version of you that doesn't wait to be chosen, She chooses herself every single time. Ironically, that's often when the shift in dynamic begins, because nothing rattles someone more than realizing the woman they once had access to, emotionally or otherwise, no longer waits at the door. And not out of spite, but out of self-respect. You become untouchable, not because you're playing hard to get, but because you're finally honoring your value. The energy that once went into proving yourself to him now fuels your own expansion. And here's the beautiful twist. When a woman moves in silence for herself, not for a reaction, she doesn't just become more attractive. She becomes magnetic. She lives in alignment with her worth. And if he ever does come back around, it won't be because you chased him. It will be because he felt the undeniable shift in your energy and realized what he lost the moment you went quiet. When a woman chooses silence after rejection, she is not simply walking away. She is making a profound statement without uttering a single word. She is choosing herself in a world that constantly pressures her to beg for validation, to prove her worth, or to hold on just a little longer. Her silence isn't passive, it's deeply intentional. It is a boundary wrapped in dignity. In that quiet decision, she reclaims all the power that was slowly slipping through her fingers when she tried to be seen by someone who had already turned away. And whether he realizes it immediately or months later, the impact of that silence will begin to stir something in him, regret, confusion, or even longing. Most men don't expect that kind of silence. They expect emotional aftermath. They expect a reaction. But when you don't show up in the way he predicted, you challenge everything he believed about your feelings and his control over the situation. Silence takes away his ability to measure your worth through how much noise you make after he pulls away. It removes the emotional comfort he assumed would be there, and in its place he finds an unsettling emptiness, a space he must now fill with his own thoughts, questions, and eventually his realization of what he's lost. And it's in that silence that he hears the loudest truth. You won't wait for someone who's unsure about you. There is a quiet power in letting go without trying to convince. There's a fierce kind of love in choosing peace over performance, and boundaries over begging. When a woman walks away in silence, she isn't playing a game. She's walking away from one. She's walking into a new version of herself, one who knows that true love does not need to be chased, coerced, or convinced. If someone truly wants her, they'll come with clarity, intention, and respect. Anything less doesn't deserve a second chance. Her silence becomes not only a response to rejection, but a declaration of what she will never accept again: half love, mixed signals, or emotional laziness. So, to the woman who's gone silent after his rejection, know that you're not disappearing, you're becoming unforgettable. Your absence is not a void, it's a mirror. And if he ever grows enough to look into it, he'll see what he threw away. Something real, something rare, something no amount of noise can ever bring back. You didn't lose him, he lost you, and your silence will be the chapter he rereads long after you've started a whole new story. Thank you so much for watching this video and spending your valuable time with me. If this message resonated with you, remember your silence can be your strength, your clarity, and your greatest form of self-respect. Never be afraid to walk away from what no longer serves you. Your value doesn't decrease because someone failed to see it. It remains untouched, powerful, and undeniable. If you found this content helpful, inspiring, or empowering in any way, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more content that speaks directly to your heart. And please share this with someone who might need to hear it today. Your share could be the turning point in someone else's journey. Your support means the world to me and helps keep this community growing, healing, and thriving together. Thank you for being here. Thank you for choosing growth, and thank you for choosing you. Until next time, take care, stay strong, and never forget your worth. See you in the next video, and remember, your silence has a voice all its own. Goodbye for now.